going to get a little ambitious today. We're going to cover chapters Genesis 28 through 30. Now I'm calling this one, What's the Deal with the Deceitful, Conniving Liar becoming the patriarch of the Israelites? And two, his 12 sons becoming the leader of the 12 tribes of Israel. We're in chapter 28 now, and old Isaac has apparently accepted Jacob's deception, and he provides Jacob with yet another blessing. He instructs him to flee to his family's homeland for two reasons. Now, first and foremost, his older brother Esau wants to kill him for stealing his blessing the first time. And second, to find a non-Canaanite wife among his own people, which is something Esau did not do because he wanted to piss off Isaac. Well, Jacob sets out to brother Laban's in Haran to find a wife. Now Esau is thinking that Jacob has the blessings and will soon have a proper wife. Now he feels like he's left holding the bag, with two Canaanite wives. So looking for damage control, Esau marries one of the daughters of Ishmael. Now along the way, Jacob has a dream of a ladder reaching to heaven, with angels ascending and descending the ladder. Now the ladder symbolizes the connection between heaven and earth, representing access to God and the possibility of a divine interaction. Now God appears to him, promising to be with him and return him to the land. Now some interpret the ladder as a foreshadowing of Jesus Christ, who is seen as the way to God and that connection between heaven and earth. Follow me now in Genesis 28, 20 through 22. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, "If God will be with me and will watch over me on this journey, and he will give me food to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return safely to my father's household, then the Lord will be my God. And this stone that I have set up as a pillar will be God's house. And of all that you give me, I will give you 1/10. Yeah, right. Because he's been so astounding, so faithful. How could he decide he could now go and barter with God? No doubt about it, he's going to make quite a patriarch of the Jews if he keeps this up. Now listen, did you ever try to make a deal with God? Come on now, if you just let me win this lottery, I'll go to church every Sunday. Sound familiar? Yeah. How'd that work out for you? Yeah, not so swell. Now Jacob names the place that he had the dream Bethel, which means house of God. And he sets up a stone pillar there. And now we find ourselves in Genesis chapter 29. And Jacob arrives in Haran and meets Rachel, Laban's daughter. Jacob falls in love with Rachel, and he agrees to work for Laban for 7 years in exchange for her hand in marriage. However, Laban tricks Jacob into marrying his older daughter Leah instead of Rachel. He's been working this whole time for Leah. So Jacob agrees to another 7 years so that he can marry Rachel. Now Genesis 30 begins with Rachel and Leah, the two sisters that are caught up in a complicated web of love and rivalry. Now Rachel, the younger sister, she's in a tough spot. She desperately wants children, but she remains barren, while Leah, she's in a baby-making spree. Rachel's so frustrated that she goes to her husband Jacob and says, "Give me children or else I'll die." But Jacob isn't having it, and he gets mad and tells her, "Am I God? I can't control that." Now feeling powerless and driven by her envy, Rachel decides to take matters into her own hands. And so she hands over her handmaid, her slave, Bilhah, over to Jacob. Here we go again. But Bilhah quickly bears Jacob a son, and Rachel names him Dan, declaring that God has finally judged her favorably. But it doesn't stop there. Bilhah has another son, and Rachel names him Naphtali. So what's the deal with Leah? Well, after a couple of rounds in the baby-making department, she runs out of luck. What does she do? Well, she gives her maid Ziplah to Jacob. And Ziplah bears Jacob 2 more sons, named Gad and Asher. It's quite the baby boom here. Then during the wheat harvest, Leah's son Reuben finds some mandrakes. Now that's a plant that's believed to enhance fertility. Now Rachel sees them and pleads with Leah for a few, and Leah refuses. She's had her fill of sibling squabbling and feels that Rachel has already taken too much from her. So Rachel pimps out Jacob to purchase the mandrakes. Hey, Leah agrees, and just like that she conceives again and gives birth to a son named Isaac, followed closely by another named Zebulun, forgetting, of course, their daughter Dinah. But wait, there's more. God finally remembers Rachel, and she too conceives and gives birth to a boy named Joseph. Now, after Joseph's birth, Jacob's ready to move on, and he approaches Laban, his uncle, asking to be released from service. Laban, realizing that he's benefited from Jacob's hard work, well, he offers to give him something in return. Jacob is practical here, and he requests that all the striped, spotted, and speckled animals in Laban's flock become his wages. Laban agrees, but then slyly removes all those types of animals from his flock before Jacob can get his hands on them. Now, Jacob cleverly uses sticks with stripes to influence the breeding patterns of the livestock. So look at, well, there's medicinal values in those particular types of wood. Tested and documented. They make for a healthier, stronger animal and significantly higher birth rates. So here's the thing, those striped sticks had really nothing to do with creating stripes and spotted sheep. That was all on God, making right what Laban had plotted to make evil. Now, I'm saying it worked because God said so. And eating the right branches, well, that ensured that Jacob's flock increased significantly, while Laban's, well, his flock diminished. The whole thing teaches us about rivalry, cheating, and the lengths that people will go to get what they want. It's a slice of life that still resonates today. You know, family dynamics from centuries ago, well, we could feel very comfortable and relatable. So next week, we're calling that one, What's the Deal? With Jacob sneaking off with all his treasures and Laban in hot pursuit.